Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. For those of you who are new to this channel, just a heads up, this is a very organic channel. So I don't set up in a studio and have all of these lights and everything nice and pristine. No, you see my workspace behind me here. And it changes every day. There's always something new and interesting going on because I'm always in here working on things. With that said, just so you know, if you're expecting a professional tutorial on something, well, you're not going to get that. What you're going to get is just like you would do in your area, and that's what I want to portray. So let's get going on this. Happy Labor Day to all of those who celebrate Labor Day. For those of you who know me pretty well, you know that Labor Day means two things. One, it's the official end of summer. It's when school should start. Unfortunately, it starts in the middle of summer now. But the most important thing is that for me, with the end of summer comes the next season. And what's the next season? Not fall. No, Halloween time. So we go spring, summer, Halloween time. So for today, I picked up one of those Krakens at Lowe's. The problem is the paint is crap on it. Even the demonstrator model, you see all of these scratches and whatnot. It's white plastic underneath. It's just terrible. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to repaint the Kraken, and I'm going to go with you step by step and show you the steps that I take to repaint this Kraken and make it look, well, crack-a-lackin'. So, stick with Mad Dog Merv, and let's get cracking on the Kraken. You can see that there are chips all over this thing, paint chips. And you can see the white underneath, so it's definitely going to need to be painted. And, well, here we have more of them. I am going to use some blue painter's tape. You guys are familiar with this. And tape off the eyeballs, and then we are going to get started on spraying. So to start with, I'm going to use some of the Rust-Oleum 2X. This will be a satin paint, and it's called Canyon Black. I used about a can and a half on this project, so let's get started spraying. Now for this next part, I'm going to emphasize that you don't have to do this part. It's just my preference on what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some Duplicolor. This is a Bahama Blue, General Motors color. And unfortunately, I've used this can on a couple of, yes, Finley, on a couple of car projects, and it sputters a little bit. So I'm going to decan it, meaning I'm going to put it in my airbrush. If you don't have an airbrush, fine, just use a can and you'll be fine. But I want a little bit more control over where I put this, so I'm going to hit some highlights now. Finny, come behind Grandpa. Okay, so you can see here with the front pretty much done. If I want to, if there's any areas that I'm not real happy with, I can just go back over with my black and, you know, take care of it, blend it in, whatever. So this is this this step, just getting these highlights. We'll be back in a few with the next color. Now after I finished this step, I went to lunch. I really let the paint dry, about 2 hours is all, before I moved on to the next color. And I do like how it's coming together. So for our next step, I'm going to use some of this color shift by Duplicolor. Now the reason for this, you might have trouble finding this paint where you're at. You may have problems finding the Rust-Oleum. The Rust-Oleum is actually pretty hard to find. I can order it through Home Depot, or not Home Depot, through Lowe's, but it will take several days to get here. And I have to buy it only in a 4-pack, so it's like 60 bucks. Forget that. There's a couple other places I can get it locally, but it takes at least a week to order in. So I'm like, you know, use what you can, wherever you can get whatever you can get. And I can get this one here. It is a green or purple to green shift. So we're going to try this one out and see how it goes. So you can see the areas that I've already painted with that blue, the highlights are still there. This went over it, made it a little more glossy, but it didn't harm this effect at all. All right, here's how it looks in the sun. Now this took about 15 minutes to spray this color shift on. It covered really well. I could put another coat if I wanted. I'm kind of liking the effect the way. Okay, I went ahead and sprayed the black yesterday on this, and I got just a little bit of overspray. Most of this was already here, and that's fine. I want that transition, but now I'm going to take some blue painter's tape and I'm going to tape this off so that we can spray this with the color shift paint. Okay, so now that I've sprayed this, we can see that it's dry. Well, it's dry to the touch. I'm going to take a different spray paint. I have another one. This one's from Tamiya. These are actually really nice hobby paints. This is TS19 Metallic Blue. Very similar to the paint that I sprayed on the main part of the body. But this one doesn't sputter everywhere, so. And all I'm going to do is go right down the middle. Like that. Let's give it a nice blue stripe. I know that's hard to see, but the effect is actually pretty cool. Now I wanted to add some life by putting some pupils in the eyes. So I took some glass cabochons. I'll do a tutorial on this another time. Took some glass cabochons, painted them up in these cat's eye looking pupils, and went ahead and hot glued them in place. And here you can see I've gone ahead and turned the lights on, make sure everything's working, and it looks really, really good. Well, you can see how that blue turned out down the middle. Now, I didn't do anything here. I may come back at some point and do maybe a light pinkish color. Right now, I'm not going to do anything more. So, Put that there. What I'm going to use, and I'll put a link to get some of this in the description. Most of the stuff I'll put a link for. But this is Rust-Oleum's Marine Coatings Spar Varnish, and this is gloss clear. This is going to help it be protected from the elements, and it's going to give it a nice deep gloss. I'm going to apply it with a brush, and my good brushes, one of my kids has kifed. So all I've got is a sponge brush, but that's going to be okay. And let's get started on this. Okay, now I'm only doing up to this point here right now because I want to paint, or I should say seal this side. And you can seal this side or not. The reason I'm going to do it is, well, it's a Kraken, it's coming out of the water. It should be shiny and wet, you know? So. And there you go. Nice and shiny, protected. And I'm just going to get this little top end here. And I'll move on to getting the rest of them done. So I let it sit in the doghouse for about 8 hours, just overnight. But you really do need about 8 hours to let it really make it so it's not too sticky. And I went ahead and put it in the ground, and you can see the results here. Looks nice and wet coming out of my ground. It'd be better if it was, on something blue that looked like water, I guess. But anyway, hope you folks enjoyed this tutorial. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.